with the ball at the moment, Michael McLean, the winger, to take the tap and get it away to Fred Jones, the hooker. Jones gets it away well to Hamilton, and a good inside pass that finds Pounder coming through pretty hard, but he's immediately put down. Play about 15 yards inside the Manly half. Played away by Jones, then coming through very hard, John Morgan. Up towards the halfway line, but thrown back a couple of yards at the last moment. Will play it to Fred Jones. Probably a kick coming up, as here it comes from Dennis Ward. A fairly high one over towards Honan's wing. Who wants it? Nobody for the moment. Intercepted beautifully. Manly have it just outside the South Sydney 25, and most of the South players stood off. Played away by Hamilton. Ward gets it away to Fulton. Short kick ahead. Fulton's racing for it. Cook bounces, beat him, and it's gone to Fulton. Fulton stumbled, loose on the ground. Who wants it? Still there, and it's a Manly ball. And the referee has come across and called for the knock-on. I think Fulton eventually got to it again, but the knock-on called, and it was Batty had not been called to play the ball. Picked up by Moses, goes to Brannigan. Goes across to Morgan, number 13. Goes to go through one tackle, put down immediately. Should have got rid of it before that. He tried to run over the halfway line. Front away beautifully that time by Wallace to Jones to Pittard. Pittard doubling back towards the halfway. It's the far side corner. That'll be the scoreboard corner. Changes his mind a bit. It's a fairly high one, but it's swinging that way. Goes to Sims, takes it just behind his own line. He'll kick to get out of trouble. There it goes. A very high one. And Bradstreet lets it bounce. It'll go back to Batty because he made the initial kick. Now Batty is the only player on side for the moment. None of the South Sydney players on side. Batty decides to kick. Once more, Sims underneath it. And let's see what happens. The bounce beat him. Sims will have to try and run it out. And he's put down about 8 yards out from his own line. Good thinking by Batty, and Sims a bit slow to react on that occasion. Moses, number 10, gets it away well to Pittard. Pittard going hard through one tackle, that time by Morgan, still going, makes it over the 25, got it away well as Moses backed up. Play to Walters, number 12, the South Sydney hooker, to Ivan Jones. Jim Lyle without a number, across to Arthur Brannigan. Brannigan's caught immediately, can't get rid of it, and luckily missed a high tackle by Frank forwards as they have in the first 5 or 6 minutes. They could run South into a bit of trouble. Hamilton going through and caught, can't get rid of it. But play now up to within 20 yards of the South Sydney line. Played away by Jones, across the back line now and beautifully inside, but once more the South Sydney cover defence moving across, and Manly not using their forwards. Here's a shot at field goal by Ward, and it's there. Well, for a moment we thought they might continue with the forwards, but the ball was quickly thrown back to the little former Canterbury Bankstown halfback Dennis Ward, who booted through a very quick field goal to give Manly a lead now of 4 points to 2 over South Sydney after 15 minutes play in the first half. South Sydney not over impressive in the opening 15 or so minutes of this first half. They're trying hard, but some of their moves are breaking down. They're trailing Manly at the moment 4-2. Fred Jones will be the dummy half from Bob Fulton. Dennis Ward getting it away well, and they're using their backs all the time as Stanton throws a wild one across the back line, and now backing up well. Hamilton gets it back inside, and then Morgan goes through hard, tries to go through two tackles, but he's got rid of it. Across the back line from Ward to Stanton. Stanton looks for support, gets it away well to Fulton, and Fulton barrel down there midway between the South 25 and the halfway line. Jones the dummy half, and Manly the more impressive side in the opening minutes. Across from Hamilton, and across the back line once more. Morgan gets into Hannigan. Hannigan's going hard for the line, looks for support into Hamilton. Hamilton's across for Manly Warringah. 3 points for the Sea Eagles, and good backing up by Big Bill Hamilton, the front row forward for Manly Warringah, after Hannigan burst through one tackle and then looked for support and found Big Hamilton backing up beautifully on his right through a beautiful pass. Hamilton over for 3 points now. Manly in the white shorts puts it in. Another Manly ball. Ward running with it, and he's found a gap. No, not quite. Dragged down at the last and just by Sate for South Sydney. Hamilton crossed towards the far side wing, and they're starting to work Hannigan's wing quite a bit in this first half. Jones getting it away well. Bradstreet straight up towards the halfway line, but couldn't quite find the gap. Last tackle coming up against Manly Warringah. Fulton, a fairly high one. Sims underneath it on his own 25. Takes it. No, he's knocked it behind him. Gets it away here to James. James claps on the pace, but he's got all the cover defence coming to him. Goes inside of Ward. Gets a beautiful inside pass away, but the Manly cover defence was too good on that occasion. And on this occasion, Bob Moses, number 10, the dummy half. Goes to Pittard. Ivan Jones. Sate. looks for a gap, gets it to Lyle without no man, loose on the ground, picked up by Hannigan. This will be a try. Hannigan going hard for the corner. Sims trying to catch him, but they won't get to him. And Hannigan's in, scores for Manly Warringah in the far corner. Another 3 points for the Sea Eagles, and they're running away with this game. And most of it coming now with the score at Manly line. South Sydney 2 from bad handling by South Sydney. They've been handling pathetically in this first. Dennis Ward puts it in for Manly. It's a South Sydney ball. Coote looks for a gap, but he's caught immediately, and over the top, a good crushing tackle by Ken Day. Plays it to Ivan Jones. Moses looks for a gap down the centre, and he's through 2 tackles, going hard for the line, gets it away to Ivan Jones, flips it behind him, but it's picked up beautifully there by Michael McLean. No follow-up support by South Sydney, and Manly on the attack again, although they're harassed on their own line. Stanton to get up and play this one for 6 for South Sydney. Last tackle coming up, and play just inside the Manly half. Batty kicks high. Now let's see who gets underneath it. Sims just outside his own 25. He'll probably kick and get out of trouble. There's his kick, but he's not really winning these kicking duels. Batty gets it on about the 4th bounce here. He waits for it to bounce and almost stop. Just inside his own 25. Looks for Hannigan, finds Hannigan. Hannigan gets inside Walters, gets it back to Batty. Batty steps inside Sattler, still going, gets it away to Fulton. Fulton up towards the halfway line. Caught, he's going to be dumped, but he swings a good pass, intercepted, and it comes across to Pittard. Pittard swung a pass, but this time the penalty goes to Manly Warringah at a forward pass ruled against South Sydney, and a bit of a punch-up going on further back, which Fulton is trying to stop. And let's see who's in the middle of all that. It was Bob Moses. Bob Moses in the middle of all those sort of things that usually happen out here. Well, I think it was all with Fred Jones and Bill Hamilton. In the meantime, the penalty had already been awarded to Manly. South Sydney 25 on the halfway line. Fred Jones to Fulton. He'll short kick and follow it through on his own, and it'll go straight there to Brian James. James is tackled immediately by Stanton. We'll play this one just outside the South Sydney 25 to Coote, who hasn't done a great deal in this game so far. Running, bursting through a couple of tackles, gets it away to Walters. Comes to Dennis Ward through that tackle, caught by Stanton, and he had Brian James coming up on the inside, couldn't get the pass away, and Brian James will be the dummy half. South starting to come good. Goes to Pittard, across to Norgard, then to Brannigan. Brannigan's caught, he'll try and get rid of it. He's burst out of one tackle, still going hard. Flips his pass away to Lyle without a number and put down immediately, up on his feet again, and play midway with one tackle to go between the Manly 25 and the halfway line. Comes across this time to Norgard, to Coote, standing wide to Brian James. Comes to McLean and put down with a beautiful copybook tackle round the ankles. That was the last tackle against South Sydney, in a scrum to pack down about 35 yards out from the Manly line. Confusion, Jim Lyle for South Sydney playing in a jumper with no number, and Greg Norgard now playing in the number 21 jersey has replaced halfback Ivan Jones. There's the kick-off by Batty. Pittard underneath it, almost no. Sims gets underneath it eventually. Swings it away here to Honan. Honan right across field, gets around Jones. A one-arm gridiron pass across to Brannigan, had to stop and take it. He's got James with him, gets it to James. James off down the member stand touchline, infield, gets inside of Jones. Jones comes again, puts him down, play midway between the South 25 and the halfway line. Norgard the dummy half. Jim Lyle across to Coote. Coote to Sate. Sate looks for a gap down the centre, through a couple of tackles, eventually caught there by Ken Day, number 10, and wrestled down and play a few yards short of the halfway line in South Territory. Pittard, long one across here that finds Norgard, who's not going to have to hurry and get that one. It's picked up by Fulton. Fulton gets it away, and Manly on the attack again. Manly have regained, and I don't know, South's handling almost too bad to be true in this first half. Bradstreet running wide, gets it away beautifully here to Hamilton, and he's put down. Good diving tackle by Morgan, and play just outside the South Sydney 25. Hannigan spears it away this time, and Manly throwing it about like a hot cake. Ward looking for a gap down the centre. Court can't get rid of it. Last tackle coming up against Manly. They're about 35 yards out from the South Sydney line. A kick through by Fulton. Was not a shot at field goal, I'm sure. Maybe it was. It's so wide. Sims waits for it to go out over the dead ball line, and it's quite make it, but he's put his foot out. I don't know. He waited. Maybe that was the right thing to do. And he waited as far as he could, but referee Cole Pearce is now awarded a 25. And there's the kick-off by Batty. Eric Sims waits for it, takes it just outside his own line. Wants to run, dummies, up towards the 25. He must be caught. No, he stumbled through one tackle, still going. Looks for support. And a smashing head-high tackle by Sattler of Norgard. Gets up, but very groggily. I beg your pardon, Tennant of Norgard. Away from Sattler that time to Coote. Beautifully across to Morgan. Morgan looks for support, finds Moses. Moses is caught through one tackle. It's loose on the ground, and it's a Manly ball. And South's handling once more have let them down. Hamilton caught there by Pittard, and a bit of rough stuff going on in the opening minutes of the second half. Jones with Morgan down on the ground for Manly temporarily, and going through hard was Ken Day, put down a few yards short of the halfway line in Manly territory. Fred Jones tries the other side this time, but the South Sydney cover defence much too quick. Last tackle coming up against Manly Warringah. Hamilton will kick. Could be a good one. It'll beat everybody, I think, and it's beaten every... No, Sims there was just a bit too slow, and a big front row forward has left all the star wingers and fullbacks standing there looking at his kick. Manly have raised the flag about 15 yards out from the South Sydney line. Scrum to pack down there, and here's the scrum about to form. Referee Cole Pearce signals the correct position. Dennis Pittard to feed for South Sydney in there somewhere, and it bounced straight out the South Sydney way. We'll try it again. Dennis Pittard on the far side of the scrum, which is a bit off the mark, and Pearce waves them back. Pittard has the ball, it's in, it's a Manly ball. Goes from Ward to Fulton, back to Ward, at a dummy, it goes beautifully to Tennant. Tennant's running hard for the line, he's through 2 tackles, he's over! Well, South Sydney just fell to pieces there. Alec Tennant bustled his way through about 4 attempts at tackles, and Alec Tennant has scored for Manly Warringah. 3 more points for the Sea Eagles. The score, Manly 17, South Sydney. Ward to feed, puts it in. It's a South Sydney ball. Pittard gets it away. And across to Norgard. Norgard looks for a bit of a gap. Swings it away beautifully here. Pittard's backed up. No support as he's bounced to his feet and still going hard and put down 10 yards short. South coming good now, but I think far too late. They won't let Pittard, Stanton wouldn't let him up. Going through hard, Sate runs hard for the line. Day gets onto him and bustles him back. He's pushed back about 10 yards back to the original play the ball. Gets to his feet now and plays it to Walters. Number 12 is spears it across this time to Sattler. Across to Cootie, made dummy and go in his own. He's running hard for the corner. Put down and smothered there as the winger came in and couldn't get rid of the ball. Last tackle coming up for South. Going through hard, Moses swings a wild one back here to Lyle. Another one across to Norgard to Brannigan. Brannigan's looking for Honan. Brannigan's going hard, finds Honan. Honan's going hard for the line, but he's put down. Also into touch about 8 yards short of the Manly line. Well, not bad attacking football that time by South Sydney, but they're a bit less than that perhaps out from the Manly line. And if ever South are going to score, it'll be now. Moses takes the tap. And he'll run on his own, straight towards the line, put down about 2 yards short. Playing it to Walters now. Walters goes for the line in his own. He's pushed back. I think he probably got over the line, but pushed back. And they're back towards where Moses played that last one. Moses again now is the dummy half from Walters. Swings it away. Pittard runs back the other side. He's going hard for the line. He's in. And Pittard has scored eventually for South Sydney, but I'm afraid far too late in the game. It'll be a morale booster for South Sydney. And it's a South ball. Goes to Pittard, to Norgard, to James in from the wing, who's caught immediately and dumped heavily by Fulton, and play about 22 yards out from the Manly line. Moses. Hard for the line, he's almost through a tackle, gets a pass back here, and there, South are in. South are in, another 3 points, and right next to the post. And the Manly, no, the referee is Pittard in again, that's his second try. The man of 8. Not bad, dropping a bit, but it's not too bad. It's gone to the far side of the post, taken by Sims. No points. Sims runs out between his own post, gets it to Moses. Moses looks for the 25, gets it to James. James claps on the pace. He's looking for the halfway line. Comes to McLean. Short kicks ahead. Hit by McLean. Underneath it is Hannigan. Oh, misunderstanding. Loose on the ground. Batty does get to it, though, for Manly. One of the Manly players hurt in that collision. And Manly have regained a lucky break as there was a miss. 21 points to 12. It's another South Sydney ball. Pittard's caught. Can he get rid of it? No, he's wrestled down to the ground, and he'll get up and play this one 22 yards out from the Manly line. Going through hard this time. Oh no, the cover defence by Manly much too good. Pittard, the dummy half, swings it back this time, and let's see what they can do. Moses going hard, makes it up to within 10 yards of the Manly line. Last tackle coming up. They need a try, a converted try, to have any show of winning this game right now. Walters spears it across to Sattler. Sattler going hard, he's almost through, swings a pass, and they're in! And South have done it, they're over for another try. Coote, I think, backed up for that. Well, it wasn't Coote. Jim Morgan was the player who backed up. He had Coote with him, of course, but Jim Morgan went over for the try for South Sydney. And the field, the full-time heater to go any second from now. Manly just determined to hang onto the ball and not take any risks. There's the full-time hooter in the background. The match is all over, and Manly Warringah has got through to the grand final and will meet now the winner of the final to be played between St George and South Sydney. Next week, St George will now meet South Sydney, St George having won the first semi-final, and South Sydney, as minor premiers, losing today's second semi-final, will clash next week in the final, and the winner will then meet Manly Warringah in the grand final on Saturday week. Manly thoroughly deserved their win, to win by 23 points to 15 before this crowd of 49,128. There were many great players, and we'll have a winner, of course, of our Unicorn Watch Award for Best and Fairest Player announced at the end of this program, the player to be selected by a member of the Referee Appointments Board. But many great players. South fell down because their handling was bad. They didn't back up, and their tackling fell badly apart in that second half. South, heads bowed, leaving the field. It's all over until next week. They must beat St George in what should be a great game. So the result of the second semi-final, Manly Warringah, in a great performance, has defeated South Sydney 23 points to 15, and now goes straight to the grand final to be played Saturday week.